All right. So this will be, I think, the first ever just like straight up sit down video I've ever made. Um, yeah, I just kind of wanted to talk to you about the situation I'm in. Obviously, if you've been, following this channel and following this series, you know that I was training to race the Mesa Marathon on February 8th. It is now February 13th, and I have not run the Mesa Marathon. And so I just want to talk to you about what happened and some of the disappointment and frustration and just like things I did not think were going to happen that happened. So yeah, I'm just going to kind of like talk through this and yeah, if you care about the situation or want to whatever, it's just going to be like a long talking video with as few cuts as possible. But yeah, just to give some background, I've been training since since August for this race because I did a little build up to the Chicago Marathon, just like a few weeks, got fit and ran the Chicago Marathon, and then basically right after Chicago, hopped into marathon prep for Mesa. So I've been thinking about and training for this race for a long time since August, but I've been thinking about it before that. And back when I decided to run Mesa, I ran it, or I wanted to run it for a few reasons. One, I live here in Gilbert, which is like down the street from Mesa. So it was going to be like my first time ever running like where I live, and I wouldn't have to travel and, just kind of take away some of those like stressors of like having to do a marathon in a different state. And also, I talked to my younger brother, and he decided to do his first marathon, and he wanted to do it in Mesa. So it was going to be the first time me and my younger brother ever ran together, and I ended up actually coaching him through the whole build. So it's this really cool moment of being able to have my younger brother come out and then have my whole family come out as well. So my dad, mom, sister, my other brother, his wife, and just everyone was going to be out here. And I was, like so pumped because I've never had like my whole family able to come out for one of my races. And so those were all the reasons why I chose to run Mesa. It's also a fast, really good course. And yeah, it's just like was the perfect race for me to do and to go back after a 250 marathon. And so training was amazing. I went through like, I don't know, 16 to 18 weeks worth of like my best build ever. I've got the most fit I've ever gotten in my whole entire life. Like I was comparing the workouts I was doing this time around compared to my last 250 build, and every workout was better, faster. I felt better. I even ran a half marathon PR 3 weeks out from Mesa, and it was 1:19:32. So I got myself so fit, and so it was just like I remember after that half marathon PR being so like amped up and being like, "Oh my word, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna crush Mesa. We're doing this." Um, and not super long after that is when things just kind of went terribly. Basically, a week after Austin, a little over a week after the half marathon, I got really sick. Um, which, yeah, basically, I got sick and I was out. It was like my first week of the taper. I was sick, and I wasn't like ultra stressed. I was just like, okay, I'll get better in a day or two, and it'll be good. I'll just miss a couple runs, whatever. But that whole week was miserable. Like I couldn't get out of bed, had a fever, like chills, body aches, congestion, everything. It was just like the most sick I've been in years. And I started to really like feel extremely anxious, like for a lot of reasons. Not just the fact that I was sick, but also the fact that like I had to get better in a week and also run the fastest marathon of my life. And yeah, it basically I just went through that week, didn't run a whole lot. I couldn't really do anything. I tried to run one day and I literally couldn't even make it a mile. It was horrible. And then the next week rolls around and that was race week. And I still wasn't feeling good. I tried to get a few runs in that week, but my lungs weren't good, my body wasn't good, and from there started spiraling mentally. Like with just straight up like anxiety, like anxious panic attacks, multiple of them. And I was just freaking out about the fact that like, oh my word, I've set this goal, I put it out in public, I built this whole series, my whole family's coming out, BPN's coming out to make a video about it, and I don't feel like I don't feel good. Like I'm sick. I'm not fully recovered. My body is cooked. And basically I just had one of the worst weeks of my life. Like some days I felt like I couldn't even get out of bed. I was so like paralyzed with like anxiousness of, and it was just really bad. And yeah, and so I basically try to convince myself that I was feeling okay. Like I'll feel good in a couple days. I'll feel good in a couple days. And it just never happened. And then basically Thursday night, which is 2 days out from the race, I had a really bad, like, panic anxiety attack that was like pretty severe. Um, and I just like, it was really bad. It was like a very scary moment, for anyone that's dealt with things like that. It's like, it feels like you're gonna die. Like it was not a good feeling. And yeah, it was just really sad. I just felt sad, um, because I knew at the end of the day, like my health, both physically and mentally, is not worth trying to run this marathon sick. And it just, to me, like wasn't worth it. And I'm like now at peace with the decision, and I'm really glad that I decided to pull out. But it was like, it was one of the hardest decisions I've ever made, because obviously I put in months and months of work, and I, had my sights focused on this race. Like this was the race I was going to do it. I had run the course in training. Like this was everything I had been focused on. And the nature of my job, obviously, like making social media content and making content about running and all that stuff, you become like very focused on one thing, like just focused on running, focused on a race. And yeah, it just was like a weird, like a frustrating thing to have to be sick and then pull out of a race you built everything towards. Um, so I ended up making the decision Thursday night that I needed to pull, and that was going to be the best decision for me. Um, and yeah, it was just a horrible, like frustrating and sad decision for me to have to make, especially knowing that, like, once again, my whole family was coming out. I had to talk to BPN, and they were great. But obviously, like, I wanted to be able to capture that race, and just didn't happen the way I wanted it to. Nothing happened the way I wanted it to. But my family was still coming into town, so I tried my best that weekend to, like, be positive and just enjoy the weekend with my family. If anything, like if there's going to be any good that comes out of it, I just wanted to be able to like have a good time with my family. It's not very often my family comes out to Arizona and where I'm able to hang out with everyone. So I decided to just have the best attitude possible. My mom was running the 10K, and my younger brother obviously was running his first marathon, and I wanted it to be a great first marathon experience for him. And so, I drove them to the expo, and like drove them to the start of the race and everything. Um, and yeah, I tried to like not think about it too much that weekend because I knew it would like affect me, but I was just trying to focus on like, let's just have a good weekend with my family and support my brother in this race. And that's what I did. And, if anything great came out of this, it was just like being able to, on the spectating side, watch my younger brother run this race, because like I've been working with him for 12, no, like 14 weeks or so. And I built out a plan for him, and he executed every single run. His Strava graph was crazy. Like he was so consistent and built up to high mileage in his first marathon, and went out and ran a 3:11 in his first race. And I was able to see him at mile 10, 14, 18, and the finish. And I was just able to like hype him up, like give him pointers, tips and stuff that I wish I would have had my first marathon. And it was a really like incredible experience to be there for my younger brother, um, and just like get him through that race and see the excitement and joy that his first marathon brought him. And I wouldn't have been able to see that if I was also racing, because I wouldn't have been able to like interact with him, obviously. So like it was like just a weird weekend, because I was so, the whole weekend ended up being great. Like my family was here, and I got to support my younger brother, and it was a great weekend in that front. But then after the fact, like on Monday, once my whole family left, I just was left feeling like, dang, like I wish I could have run that race. I don't know what to do now. Like, yeah, it just was like, it's just like a frustrating position. Like I guess being honest with the camera right now, like I don't honestly know where to go from here. I know a lot of people have commented and shown their support, but and some people have said like, well, there's this marathon, you know, in a few weeks, you can hop into that. And there's like, it's a lot more difficult for me to do that. This marathon prep has been like extremely difficult for me mentally and physically, like just has pushed me to my limits, which has been great. But I guess I thought like, you know, after this weekend, you know, I could rest and like I put in a huge build, you know, for 18 plus weeks I've been running and I could finally kind of like rest after this race and kind of enjoy the fact that I did it and I accomplished my goal. But that rest like isn't coming because I didn't run that race. And so now I'm just in a point where I don't know what to do. Like I have so much fitness still and I want to hold on to that fitness and I want to find the next race and like do it. But on another side, like I'm mentally worn out. Like the just like frustration from this race and everything has like mentally like taxed me so much. So I honestly don't know what to do. I'm just continuing to run like I've been running this week, but it's just been like so weird to like hop right back into my regular training. It's just been weird, and I don't exactly know what to do. So I don't have any like decisive race that I'm doing next or what I'm doing next. I know that I'm not gonna like just give up, but I'm just in a weird spot, and it just goes to show like life you can think that things are going to go a certain way. Like for me, I envisioned all this, you know, I envisioned building this series for YouTube and my social media and like really showing you guys, you know, the realness of training. And I envisioned it like capping off with this epic finale that I could make for you, and it didn't happen that way. And it didn't go the way I wanted it to. But that's just part of like the realness of this prep. Like this goal that I've been chasing has had nothing but like roadblocks and hurdles for me to get over, and this is another roadblock for me to get over. This isn't the end of like my running journey. I still am trying to find a way to continue running, keep my fitness, and figure out what to do next. Um, but yeah, it's just a disappointment. It's a really big disappointment for me. I've been like really struggling with it this last couple, you know, since I got sick. You know, it's been like mentally draining for me. But at the end of the day, like life moves on. You know, like my life isn't over. I'm 23. I have a lot more races to run. I have a lot more running to do, and at the end of the day, this is a very like frustrating thing for me. But I like it's just I know I'll look back at it and be like, okay, like that taught me a lot. That got me, you know, that built me up and made me stronger. Right now, it's like really hard for me to see that. But yeah, that's the update. This is the video I wanted to make for you. It's disappointing. I'm disappointed, obviously, but I'm gonna keep pushing and just figure out where to go from here. But I just wanted to make this talking video because I've never made a talking video where I just like walk through my feelings. This was my first take. I literally have not taken another take. And yeah, I'm gonna work on figuring it out. I appreciate all your support. This series, you know, this series has been so much fun for me, and it's not going anywhere. It's just delayed, right? So yeah, anyways, I'll obviously update you on what I'm deciding to do. And I just have a lot to figure out at this point. So thank you all for the support. I hope this video kind of like, you know, updated you on the situation. Obviously, I got a haircut. I forgot to talk about that. But I don't know. I pointed that out. But yeah, sorry if I let anyone down. It's just life, and I know I made the right decision and I'm at peace with that. So with that being said, I'll see you in the next video. If you want to follow me on any other platform and stick around for some updates, you can do that. But with that being said, I will see you all in the next video.